A big thank you to Horo for sponsoring this episode. On today's episode, we are going to be doing some DIY Ikea hacks for the bathroom. We are going to be getting that high-end look for less, and you'll also catch some glimpses of a bigger makeover that I'm doing that has one seriously fancy upgrade. Any guesses what it might be? Well, stick around. I think you're going to love it. Now, normally on this episode, I would head to Ikea. We'd go shopping together. We'd see all the new things. But honestly, I have so many things going on in the background. I've got several makeovers, like bigger room type makeovers going on, and I just didn't have time to get to the store. So what I did instead is ship some items to me, which I thought would be also helpful because I know a lot of you guys don't live near an Ikea, and I was able to ship all of these items very affordably. So I'm going to show you some of the items that I got, and then we'll get into the makeovers. First off, we have this really cute soap pump. I honestly don't know what I'm gonna do with that because it's already kind of cute, but I thought that there might be something that we can do to elevate it, but I don't know if you've seen that before, but that I thought was really cute. Next up, we have this little jar, which is really pretty with the reeded glass kind of look on it. It's pretty basic, and I do think that there's a way that we could dress that up. Let's see. Okay, and then I got this set of nesting boxes. So like this actually shipped inside of this, I believe. And the lids you can flip over and sit on top this way, or flip over and nest in this way, which is kind of cool because then it gives you like a place to store stuff and you can stack these up. These boxes are cute, but they're pretty basic. They're bamboo, and I thought we could dress them up and make them look extra fancy. Now, I don't know if we're gonna use these in this episode or not. We'll have to see. But I got a couple of these bamboo cutting boards, and so we might do something with that. The bigger item that I got was I got a cabinet, and this is just the door. Now you can see that it's pretty big, and so it's taking up a lot of room, but it came with like a shallow cabinet, and I just thought there might be a fun way to dress the cabinet up a little bit more. Plus, I also have a couple of things from previous Ikea episodes that we could maybe do some stuff with. Either way, let's get started with makeovers. Clean lines, glass, and mirrors are always a way to elevate your bathroom, but I'm also always in need of some storage options. So I'm kind of combining two of these things into one. And this is a Pottery Barn dupe that I've been wanting to tackle for a long time, and I just have never gotten around to it. And that is the Egan mirror. Now, the one that I'm trying to recreate is about $300, and it is just that, a mirror. And so here's what I did is I found the Eckert, I believe, I don't even know. I don't remember the name of the cabinet. I believe it's the Eckert.
I think it's Swedish.
And I was like, what if we turned that into a mirror? You could go custom and have a custom mirror cut, or maybe even track down some mirrors, but I found these craft mirrors very thin, very, very thin, on Amazon, and they were a relatively good price. And this is really easy. You don't need any special supplies or cutting materials or any skills at all. This is, anybody can do this project. I'm telling you, anybody can do this. So here's what you're gonna need to do. We are gonna take our craft mirrors, and I'm using some liquid nails glue because that's what I had on hand, but you could use some E6000 and maybe some hot glue. The hot glue might dry really quick and not squish down enough, so maybe the E6000, and just glue that to the front of the door till it's like covered, and you wanna make sure it's very centered. And that's the other reason I would kind of avoid hot glue in this situation, is you want something that dries a little slower, so if you need to scooch things around at the end, and with hot glue, it's set in place, so because it dries very quickly. Remember that window grid that I did 6 months ago on my living room slider doors to make it look a little bit more industrial? It's like pill and stick molding. That's what we're using. Again, I had some left over, and this one I did go ahead and miter the edges. You don't necessarily have to do that, but I do believe it gives it a really nice finished look. So if you can miter the edges, do. Even if you're doing it by hand and just kind of using like a, I don't know, like a, they call it a protractor. I haven't used one of those since high school or something like that. And then we did all of our little pieces to fill in across and created a grid. Now, as we were doing the little pieces, you can take just like a straight edge blade and cut it like deeply and use it just as like a way to mark it. Instead of like marking it, you use a blade and cut through it. And then you can actually bend it and break it real simple. And that's what I ended up doing. So that's what I would recommend. It's so easy. I decided to keep this so easy and not even paint anything on this cabinet. I took electrical tape to cover up the edges, and I'm telling you, it worked like a charm, and you cannot even tell. Now, on the Egan mirror, there were these decorative molding pieces that were more like a starburst, but I had these pieces in my stash. They're from Hobby Lobby, very inexpensive, very affordable. I did spray paint the underside a matte black because it is going on a mirror. I've learned this the hard way. Anything, even if it's touching down on the mirror, is going to be reflected back at you. So putting something unfinished down on a mirror, you'll still see the unfinished side. So ask me how I know. Then once that was dry, we flip them all over and make sure that the front top part is completely saturated in the black and let that fully dry. I went ahead and just hot glued those onto each little seam, similar to the ones on the Egan mirror. Then I'm looking at it and I love it at this point. I don't really want to do anything to it. However, the Egan mirror has this kind of antiquing bronzy color. It almost looks a little coppery, a little brassy. So I went with some Rub and Buff. It does really mimic the way it looks. Pottery Barn, it's a little bit brighter than their version. I think their version's a little bit softer. You definitely notice the brassiness on my version. So I don't know that we got the color quite right, but it definitely is reminiscent of it. So now it's time to move on to that storage aspect that I had mentioned earlier. And we need to build the cabinet portion, which was honestly the easiest Ikea like assembly thing I've ever done. It was so simple. And so we had a bright white cabinet and a black kind of mirror at this point. And so we needed to get the outside to kind of match in some way. And I had this pill and stick herringbone black contact paper. I've had it for a while and I haven't had the right project for it.
My time has come.
And I'm like, listen, this is a perfect time to pull in that brassy color that we've got. It matches the black. And I'm like, I'm not doing this as a permanent kind of thing anyways. So I peeled it on and then I razor bladed it off on the edges. Like I just took a straight edge razor blade and shaved it off. I left everything on the inside white. I don't think it really matters. Nobody's gonna really see it. I may do a different variation of this. So it's all temporary. And then I went ahead and attached the hinges and attached the door. And then my little bathroom project is not complete yet. And I don't want to put any holes in it because I'm getting ready to put up wallpaper. I'm so excited for this little makeover, but I love it. I think this turned out really good. I think this is a really cool way to mimic the look of Pottery Barn and also get yourself some additional bathroom storage, which everybody can use more storage all the time, right? Am I right? Am I right? Now, speaking of bathrooms, let's go get a really quick sneak peek of that bathroom. All right, anybody who knows me knows that I don't really toilet talk, but you all know the DIY dolly, and this little cute 10-pound ball of fluff has a lot of opinions and some high standards, and she insisted on helping me with today's sponsored segment. You're gonna wanna stay tuned because this is a really cool feature.
Hi friends, I'm Dolly, and welcome to my tiny but fabulous bathroom tour. We just installed the Horo T38 Smart Toilet, and it's officially the fanciest thing in this house. Do I use it? No. Do I judge it? Absolutely not. I respect luxury. First up, the seat. Always warm. No icy surprises for my humans. The bidet, fully customizable spa energy right here at home. And watch this. The lid opens and closes all by itself. No touching, no lifting, no more fighting over the seat. Honestly, it's the peace treaty this family needed. Ambiance? Absolutely. Glow lights, emoji animations. It's like a mini concert for me. Worried about a power outage? Horo's thought of everything. With a built-in backup battery, your smart toilet keeps working, rain or shine, and it's super easy to install. And the best part, this fancy throne is totally affordable. Horo calls it luxury for less, and I call it more room in the budget for snacks. Thanks for touring the throne room. Come back soon. The lights are always on for you.
Thank you so much. But in all seriousness, this toilet is so cool. You know, if you've ever wanted a bidet, but you don't want a separate unit, this is the way to go. It washes you all nice and clean, dries you off. In the winter time, the seat is warm. You can also turn it off because we're going into summer now. I don't really want a heated seat. I wake up multiple times during the night sometimes, and I don't have to turn on the lights because the toilet is all lit up for me. It's amazing. It's definitely worth checking out, so I put a link in the description box below. If you're looking for a smart toilet, this is an affordable, amazing way to go. All right, next up, I wanted to pepper in some shockingly easy IKEA hacks. Now, even though that last project was more steps, it was all super easy, and I hope you felt that. But these next couple of DIYs are so easy, and it just goes to show you how much you can upgrade with a few simple, subtle things. And so I got 2 of those bamboo cutting boards, and we're gonna use both of them. We're gonna start with the first one though. And what I did is I just spray painted the edges gold, and that covered up the bamboo and gave it a really nice bright finish that's gonna match some of our other details that we've got going in there. Now, I'm gonna use some contact paper, and you're gonna see me using contact paper several times in this episode, and you're gonna see the power that it has. And it's beautiful, it's nice, and temporary, which means that if you get sick of it and your style changes, it's not that difficult to swap it out. But this contact paper is a marble contact paper. It's what I used on my craft table before I ruined it with epoxy. If you know, you know. You watched that episode.
Well, it's a mess, ain't it, Sheriff?
So all I did, again, is smooth out the contact paper on the top, and then I bladed it off and got it really close without scratching that gold paint that we just put on. And then I'm like, we could make this dual-sided instead of just one-sided. And so I flipped it over and repeated it. And so then on the top and the bottom, either way you use it, you've got a beautiful finish. And that actually, I think, makes it look all the more polished. And I'm glad that I did that. So then, of course, we had our soap pump and the little glass jar. And I felt like the soap pump was beautiful as is. It really didn't need anything. However, I felt like the jar was missing something. It needed a knob, but I did have a knob that matched the top of the soap pump. So I did just hot glue it into place. However, I have used epoxy before, and you could go ahead and epoxy it into place, and that would work out just fine and really, really good. I wanted to give myself an out in case I did find the perfect knob. I'm gonna store some cotton pads or cotton balls in this. I didn't have any cotton balls, so got cotton pads in it, and use it here in my bathroom. I put it next to the soap pump, which I don't have soap for, but you get the idea. And I stacked it on those marble coasters on that faux marble tray. And this is a really high-end luxe look that I think that this bamboo cutting board is $5 or less. It might be less. I think this looks so good. I really, really love it. I love the soap pump, and I love this jar, and I love them all together. I think this is a really, really beautiful look. But what do you think? You've seen kind of like a little sneak peek of the water closet, but I want to show you a couple of the before shots just so you can see the progress we've made. Again, we are not finishing this in the episode. We're not even doing the makeover in this episode. There's going to be some really cool tutorials in this makeover, some really, really clever tricks that you're really going to love. So this is what it looked like before. And it was just so vanilla and so boring, and it's fine, but I was like, if I'm gonna get this fancy toilet, I want a fancy like room to go with it. So that's kind of why I did it, and I just thought it would be fun. It's a little extra, I'll admit, but sometimes I can be a little extra.
That's how I am.
Next up, this one, I mean, it was inspired by things that I had seen at Pottery Barn. I have some other like Pottery Barn pieces that have like that exposed clay on the bottom. And a couple of episodes ago, we did some like Dollar Tree vase makeovers. I did some vases with that clay exposed, and I got a lot of suggestions from you all. First of all, you said it kind of looked a little unfinished, but looking at it on my shelf in my bedroom, I still love it. However, I listened to you guys and you're like, it needs a little bit more depth to it. This is what we did, is we took that same paint that I used on the Meredith vase makeovers, and I used it on the bottom of a black Ikea planter pot, which was probably like $2.99. It was super affordable. I ended up doing 3 coats because the black really peeked through a lot. It definitely needed those 3 coats. Made it really look like exposed clay, right? So then once that was dry, I took like a round kind of pouncing sponge brush and added in some antiquing wax. This was like a really, really easy flip, and it went from looking like an assembly line planter pot to something that was a lot more old world. It has way more character, and I just love this. This is gonna go on the little window ledge in my little bathroom closet here, and I cannot wait to see what it looks like with the wallpaper up, but it looks adorable, don't you think? I hope this shows you that I do listen to your comments and read them, and I hope that that gives you some ideas. I might not always do every comment, but I love them. I love them so much. So next up is those stacking boxes, and you're gonna see a lot of themes through this, and I think it's a really cool idea. I started with this inspiration piece. It's this really high-end looking beautiful chinoiserie container, and it was actually just one container, but it kind of looked like stacking boxes, and it was round. I also have this fabric that is very, very similar, and I've just been really loving on this black chinoiserie pattern, and then I got it in this roll of contact / peel and stick wallpaper. However, our boxes are square, and that's okay, and there are 2 boxes instead of one big one. So I wanted the edges gold like we had in the inspiration one. Also, since these lids flip over and are exposed, I wanted the underside gold as well because I felt like that would look really bougie and nice. And so I took my 18 karat gold spray paint. I sprayed the inside of the lid. I sprayed the outside ledges. I sprayed the inside of the boxes and around the ledges and got that all situated. But now we needed to do the chinoiserie. This had like a little cheetah on it, and we couldn't quite get it to work, but what I did is I just wrapped it around, did the same razor blade technique, and got it on the outside, and then I did a little spot of it on the top of the lid, and so then I kind of tried to match it up a little bit. It wasn't perfect, and then we just repeated all the steps on the bottom box. I wanted to use the other cutting board, and I wanted to use it in the bathroom, and I wanted to do something different. And I don't know if my execution on this one was like the best, but I think it looks pretty cute in the end. So here's what I did, is I had a remnant piece of some faux black leather. It was actually pretty nice looking. I cut off a little piece on it, and then I stapled it around our cutting board and made sure I started in the center, worked out to the edges. It got really thick and bulky around the edges, which is where it kind of went wrong for me, but I really love the look of this leather, especially in the bathroom. I think that could be really, really cool and very, very chic. And then I had these gold knobs from Hobby Lobby, and I just hot glued them around the edges on the bottom to lift it up so it was like an elevated tray. And that's it. So I'm gonna put the boxes on top of these, use it as a display. It's not like very well put together because it was just kind of like a fast little quick project to see what it looked like. I think with a little bit more finessing, slightly better execution, this could be a really cool look, and you could get those corners a little bit tidier than mine are. And then you could also add those knobs on a little bit more durably by either epoxying them on or maybe putting a screw on them before you do the leather. So there's like a few ways you could get it. But overall, I think this is a cute look, and I just want to get your wheels spinning with different ideas and different ways that you can implement it for your personal style. So I hope that this episode showed you that with small, simple tweaks, sometimes you can get a really luxe and high-end look. You don't always have to spend a fortune. Sometimes it's just in those little extra details, getting things designed to the nines, not stopping at one level, but just doing it a little extra. Being a little extra sometimes really pays off, and I hope that you saw that in this episode. But at the same time, None of these things were difficult. They were all very doable for a beginner. Anybody could do these, and you can customize them for your style and taste. Once again, a big thank you to Horo for sponsoring this episode. Thank you to Dolly for helping me showcase their amazing toilet. It really, really is cool. If you've been thinking about a smart toilet, this is really the way to go. They're priced for like a smart toilet, bidet with heated seats and all the bougie extras. Such a good deal. And I'm also gonna link below my dear friend Leah from CJ Drill's tutorial on how to install a Horo smart toilet. I hired somebody to install it for me this time around, just because I needed to go ahead and put a plug-in out in there because there was no plug-in even remotely close. But it is a totally doable install, especially if you have electrical close enough to your toilet. So big thank you to them for sponsoring the episode. I'm gonna leave a link for that in the description box below. Check it out. And if you enjoyed this episode, here are some more IKEA hacks for the bathroom right here. Check that out. And in the meantime, I just want to remind you that you are powerful. We'll see you next time. Bye.